Good morning, good evening, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. I am Tim, back once again for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and we are ready for some action-packed racing around the street circuit of Azerbaijan. Baku Grand Prix, whatever you want to call it, the I Am Stupid circuit, because let's be real, there's going to be a lot of issues through the castle section, and big thank you to Charles Leclerc, whatever you want to call him, for the absolute perfect line of I am stupid, I am stupid, I shut off everything. So dejected in his voice, but hopefully we will not see a significant number of incidents through the castle section. Just waiting to figure out which of our drivers was the first one to blink. Going to go ahead and take a look at the Alpine here of Whale. Riding on board with Whale, he might have actually been the first driver to blink and go out on the racetrack, so we'll ride on board with him, of course, just on his out lap for the remainder of, well, around the track as he goes through the castle section. Just give me a brief moment here trying to pull up all of my point standings and also the stream as well so that I can talk to you guys, and then we can have ourselves a little bit of fun on this Wednesday afternoon, or if you're in the UK, Wednesday evening, which honestly most of you are in the UK. So Whale going through very tricky corners, though. They are flat-out corners, but it's very easy to lose the rear end, and if you do, then you are into the wall, and it's going to be a bit of a stretch to not DNF out of the race after that. So here he is going to start his first time lap, and I will be quiet and let you listen. .927 the first lap by Whale in the Alpine. That was a lap around Baku. And looks like we have 18 drivers registered for this session so far. Of course, you did see that Mansell did decide to retire from this session. He does have a quali ban today, so he could not get out there and set a lap anyway. But now Pim going quickest, a 140.009 and a 139.013 by SFR Mauser. Now we do have a few new faces, some old faces, some young faces, some familiar faces today in the GP2 series. As we get you a quick update on our reserves, we have Norloser and Rogue Smithy, both reserves in the Ferrari, the Big Dog 2005 in the Williams, Son of Fubar 5 in the McLaren, and of course Whale in the Alpine, who we are still currently watching as we will go ahead and switch to one of our other reserves, the Big Dog 2005 in the Williams. And of course we have Sky Adams, Unbeaten, Sign, and SFR Mauser. They are also the reserves in an Alpine Aston Martin and Alpha Tauri, respectively. And an update on your point standings. We'll get to that here in just a moment, but it is a very tight battle for the top 4 spots, all of them separated within just 11 points after 3 rounds of the GP2 series. As you just saw, Big Dog 2005 going to a 138.841, Son of Fubar a 138.788. Let's go ahead and take a look now at SKA Adams, or Sky Adams. I always want to say Sky Adams, but it is SKA Adams. So we'll go ahead and just call him Adams. Of course, Tom Goproff in the McLaren just underneath him on the leaderboard is on his flying lap, so we will pay attention to the McLaren first. Of course, while we were talking about the point standings, Tom Goproff, well, looking at the point standings, he does not find himself where he wants to be. Not in that top 4 spot. He is actually in 5th, though, in the top 5 with 29 points. He scored 8 points in Bahrain, got a podium in Portugal, and then 6 points last week in Canada. On the top spot so far in the driver's standings is TNR Jonas with 1 win. That was in Bahrain, and he got a podium last week in Canada. Second place is Train Game Wow with 42 points. Of course, Jonas has 51 points. Train Game Wow 42 points in second place after a podium in Portugal, 12 points in Bahrain, and 12 points in Canada. Of course, Langfell in third. He had a podium in Bahrain, and then 12 points in Portugal, 10 points in Canada. And then maybe one of the biggest surprises, one of the underdogs, the sleeper drivers that we may need to keep our eyes on this season is X-Gamer in that Ferrari. He did not race Bahrain. Unfortunately, he was not able to make that race, but he made up for it by winning in Portugal and finishing on the podium last week in Canada. So despite having 1 less race under his belt, he is tied for that 3rd position with Langfell with 40 points each. So a very close battle already in those top 4 positions as we see Tom Goproff crossing the line and going to 4th, a 139.336. Now we'll go ahead and switch over to Sky Adams, or Adams, excuse me. I'm going to end up doing that mistake all day long, and he's also made a mistake as he has invalidated his lap. So Adams, I'm going to go ahead and apologize to you for the probably 100 times that I call you Sky Adams today. I'm going to take a look now at the Mercedes of Crowhawks. Crowhawk 1950 as he's about to start his first flying lap. As you can see, he did invalidate his outlap, but luckily the outlap doesn't matter. As long as you don't invalidate within the last corner, sometimes the last 2 corners, depending on the track, you should be okay to start your flying lap after an invalidation. And there you see so far so good for Crowhawk. A little bit of onboard action from him, going very wide, really straddling that curve. And that's a hard thing to do. You don't want to get your wheels on that curve and get on the throttle too soon, or you're going to suffer a lot of wheel spin. Of course, that corner back there, usually a 3rd gear corner. At least for myself personally, I take it in 3rd gear, and it's a very tricky corner to get correct as well, because this track in general is very easy to get on the throttle very soon and then suffer wheel spin and go into the wall. Now that curve right there, you don't want to hit at all, and there you saw it actually lost Crowhawk just a little bit of time, but this is going to be a banker lap. Now you can really hug that inside wall, but then you have to make sure that you bring the car out very wide to avoid that big sausage curve that you saw Crowhawk just barely clip there. You can abuse that corner. Really probably should have rode on board with you there as he just barely kisses the wall. That's how you know the driver is precise, just barely getting over to the edge. Sometimes a little kiss. If this was NASCAR and we were at Darlington, we would be calling that the Darlington Stripe. Another kiss of the wall, as you saw there, but no wing damage. Crowhawk so far so good. Very curious to see how his lap time turns out after all of this. Very clean sector there, straddling that white line, turning in right before the curve, and now it is full throttle all the way till you get to turn 1. You just have to be very careful to not give it too much wheel. You can use those curves. There's a little bit of grip there, goes very wide, but hangs on to it. Down straightaway, he's going to have a DRS zone, and the wing opens now. And as he crosses that line, it is going to be a 139.580. Good enough for 7th at the moment for Crowhawk in that Mercedes. Go ahead and take a look now at Unbeaten Sign in the Aston Martin, who just shoots to 11th. A 140.018 for him on his first lap. Rogue Smithy, he also has a quali ban, by the way, so he is not going to be going out there on track for a qualifying lap. He might go out there just to make sure that the car feels good. Sometimes a driver they might make setup changes before starting qualifying, and they want to see how it works. And that is perfectly fine. They're just not allowed to set a lap under quality mode. So we'll go ahead and take a look at Rogue Smithy's teammate for today, Nor Loser. His best lap so far, a 1:39.334, as we actually get the tire data up now. And it is 1 lap on that soft tire, so this is likely going to be his end lap. So we'll go ahead and take a look, not at Crowhawk, but instead to Pim here in the Williams, who looks like he's about to finish his flying lap. But who is that behind him that's getting a nice bit of slipstream? That is the Ferrari. No, it's not a Ferrari. It is a McLaren. So Pim goes to first, a 1:38.744. So a very fast time there. It looks like that might have been Son of Fubar. It was that was getting a slipstream. So if Son of Fubar can put together a nice, solid, consistent lap, then I think he's going to have the pole, because that was a long time to be hanging out behind Pim. And you know that that had to have helped that McLaren tremendously down that straightaway, because Pim just set the pole time, and he did not have the benefit of slipstream. Son of Fubar most certainly did, and he is already very close to Pim's time anyway. So going to be keeping an eye on this driver, not just in the qualifying section, but maybe even during the race. Of course, Son of Fubar and Pim, two drivers who are slowly starting to prove that they are very quick. Of course, Pim, he is a fairly normal driver in the GP2 series. Of course, it's hard to say which drivers are going to be normal this early on in the season, because something could happen that could, cause them to not be able to compete. But so far, Pim is here with us, and we're just happy to have him. He finds himself right now in the driver standings in P12, though, with only 2 points. So a DNF in Bahrain, a DNS last week, and now it was 2 points in Canada. So now today he has got the provisional pole. Of course, Son of Fubar looks like he is 3/10 up, if I'm reading the lap data right. Some cars possibly going to hinder him. However, this Ferrari, he might be able to get a little bit of slipstream off of him, so this is going to help Son of Fubar. Son of Fubar, he might just need to go out and buy a lottery ticket, because it looks like his luck is just immaculate right now. Trying to get by that Ferrari. The Ferrari lets him by, so good sportsmanship there. And Son of Fubar crosses the line. He does go to poles by a significant margin, a 1:38.273 for the McLaren. That is what slipstream will do to you, folks. Don't do drugs, do slipstream instead. Although I just realized slipstream could technically be the name of a drug. Just don't do drugs, kids. Tom Goproff in 10th, a 1:39.336 was his best lap time. He's going to look to improve on that. His teammate just went to the pole. Can Tom Goproff replicate the results or even get close? Well, we're about to find out, and, I'm kind of wondering how much we have left in this qualifying session. But we got a yellow flag in Sector 2, so we have to see that first of all. And it looks like Train Game Wow goes to second, a 1:38.677. Oh, and Tom Goproff into the wall. This will not be a fast lap, but he still does have an intact front wing, so maybe it did not hinder him too significantly. He is still 2/10 up. Oh my goodness, almost hits the AlphaTauri. Now that might hinder his performance if he had to let off the throttle. Let's see what happens. Down the straightaway. And if qualifying is this exciting, just imagine what the race is going to be. So down the straightaway, he crosses the line. Tom Goproff will go to 5th. Even though he hits the wall, he still goes quicker, a 1:38.863. And Big Dog 2005 going up to second, a 1:38.466. I almost called him the Big Dog 100, so I'm going to go ahead and just apologize for that mistake in advance. Just to let you know what the Big Dog 100 is in my brain, is there's a local short track in my area that I announced for, and last season we had a 4-cylinder race. So you have Honda Preludes out there, you could have a Chevrolet Cavalier, but I don't actually think anyone runs a Cavalier, but you mostly have Preludes, a few Celicas, the like that people have converted into race cars. That track ran a 100 lap race for that division last season, and I was watching an old video about a driver who was being interviewed about that race. I was interviewing him, just referring back on notes, and so Big Dog 100 is now stuck in my brain. So I'm going to apologize for that in advance as we watch Bossy Gaming, who apparently is not having cat issues today. trying to get some slipstream off of either his teammate or another car. Could not tell if that was the Alfa Romeo, but it doesn't matter. Bossy Gaming a 138.758 into the 5th position so far. Son of Fubar still owns that top spot with a 138.273, and it's going to be a very tall ladder for anyone to climb to surpass his time, because he got a decent amount of slipstream, and, you know, it just looks like the driver's pretty fast as well. So it looks like we got a little bit of break in the action here. We'll go ahead and take a look at the comments, see what you guys have been saying. Gareth Vicker says, good afternoon, evening, Tim. Calvin Racing says, evening all. And Matt G, I just heard, a little birdie told me that you have been promoted full-time to GP4. So even though I know that you are a little bummed out about missing out on a title fight in GP5, I do congratulate you on your promotion to GP4. It means that you are quicker than the rest of us. And if I'm not mistaken, you also won on Monday in Baku. So congratulations to that for that as well. And now it's just a matter of Vicious Vicker getting along with his new teammate now. So watching Calvin Racing in the Mercedes on his out lap. So far we do not have a driver on a flying lap. Looks like Morris, he's on an out lap as well, but I do believe that Calvin is in front of him on track. He is, so we will watch Calvin first, then switch over to Morris, unless something else arises that catches our fancy. Still trying to read all of your comments. You say that you're not faster, you're just being consistent. I disagree, my friend. From my perspective, you have picked up massively. We were racing each other last season. I'm not even close to you now. You're certainly faster. You have definitely improved. Give yourself a little bit of credit, because it is, you know, very impressive what you've been able to do. Calvin on his lap now. We're right on board with him for just a little bit. Seems like sometimes when I ride on board with drivers, they don't like it because they end up wrecking out. Well, that happened to Calvin and I believe Bahrain. So we're going to ride on board with him today in Baku and give him a little bit of redemption, because I just know that Calvin's going to put down a solid lap around here. I don't actually know that, by the way, but, you know, I'm giving him faith because I'm sure that he is listening to the broadcast. So if he is, hi, Calvin. And hopefully, he will keep it out of the wall. Of course, if he's listening to the broadcast, maybe I shouldn't be saying his name so much. It's just distracting him. But, you know, that is the risk that you take. And it looks like Mauser has just recently went to the 9th position, a 139.013 for him, unless I just didn't notice. So very close to Calvin's time of 139.012. But Calvin may very well be able to beat that time. We'll see. Did not see what his time was through the 2nd sector. But the 3rd sector is here, and now as he opens up that rear wing for the DRS zone, on board with Calvin as he crosses that line, and he will put down a solid lap, a 138.813, and that means qualifying is over for him. We'll go ahead and take a look at Morris really quick to see him cross that line. Oh, but he has invalidated, so he can do no better than 9th. A 138.936 will be his lap time. Train Game Wow out there on the track now, trying to set a fast lap time. Doesn't look like anyone's going to have anything for Son of Fubar with that 138.273. Like I said, that's what Slipstream will do for you. But maybe Train Game Wow can just find a few more tenths out of his lap time. His best lap time, a 138.677, lining up in 3rd at the moment. Although Pim, he's very fast as well, and he is in 4th with a 138.744. So the big dog, 2005, goes to 2nd in 138.466. Train Game Wow, we're still watching him to see what he's able to do. .138.677, so it's not going to be an improvement from him. Will Pim be able to improve? Looks like he might have been a 10th up in the third sector, or the second sector. Oh my goodness, and he hits the wall. Well, Pim's definitely not going to be doing any better. So I guess what you saw is what you're going to get, but we're stuck looking at someone in the garage right now. And your official starting lineup for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series, I almost said Bahrain, Azerbaijan Grand Prix here in Baku. Son of Fubar on the pole, the Big Dog 2005 in second, Train Game Wow in third, Pim in fourth, Bossy Gaming in fifth, Will in sixth, Mauser in seventh, eighth is Calvin Racing, Crowhawk in ninth, 10th is Tom Goproff, Morris in 11th, Eric's Yeast in 12th, 13th is Eric's Mamba, the two teammates in the Red Bull 12th and 13th, Norloser in 14th, 15th is Unbeaten Sign, Mansell in 16th, Rogue Smithy in 17th, and Adams in the 18th position. So 18 drivers, almost a full field here for the GP2 Series. Going to be a very exciting race. Of course, the top 10 are going to be starting on their soft tires. We'll see what the rest of the field decides to go with. And now is the time that I want to do something a little bit different that I've never done on stream. It's time for a little bit of trivia questions for you guys, for those of you that want to participate. So the 2021 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, as we know, was won by Sergio Perez, after Lewis Hamilton accidentally left the brake magic on and overshot turn one on a restart after Max Verstappen, if I could say the name, had a tire go down and wrecked on the pit straight. So with that win, Sergio Perez scored his second career win. But how many podiums does that make for him at this track? So the question is, how many podiums after his win in 2021 does Sergio Perez have at Baku? And also, another one for you, it's time for our top 3 predictions, and I'm going to go in any order. Son of Fubar, Pim, and Big Dog 2005. It was a toss-up between Big Dog 2005 and Train Game Wow, but I'm really feeling like Big Dog has got something in store for us today. Formation laps about to start. Then we can get underway with our race. Going to be, I believe, 27 laps around the Baku circuit. I've already forgot since Monday. I've slept since then. I apologize. Make no mistake, I do not apologize for sleeping. Sleeping is very much wonderful. Trying to see your guys' comments. Not able to. So Whale says, it's so close. It certainly is. Kitty Cat Rascal says, excited to be here, my first one. Well, we are welcome to have you here, a new viewer for Speed Force Racing. So Son of Fubar, Big Dog 2005, Train Game Well, that's your top 3. My prediction, Son of Fubar, the Big Dog 2005, and Pim for the podium on for any particular order. And it looks like all the way down to P12, we have drivers choosing the soft compound tire. Eric's Mamba on the medium compound tire, as well as Norloser and Unbeaten Sign, Mansell and Rogue Smithy, 16th and 17th, and then Adams in the 18th position, so soft, and medium respectively for them. Now, for new viewers, which I now know that we do have, I will explain the tire compounds. The soft tire is, well, as it says, the softest compound tire, so it's going to be the grippiest tire. But because it's so grippy, because it's such a soft compound, it's going to last the least amount of time, but it's also the fastest. The medium tire, well, it's, as it says, the medium. So it lasts a little bit longer than the soft tires, but not as long as the hard tires. The hard tires, no one has selected the hard tires. It's not always a viable strategy option, but it is possible. Now, the rules in Formula 1 and in this league is that you have to run 2 different tire compounds throughout the course of the race. So these races, the tires will always call for a pit stop. So you have to run 2 different tire compounds. So if you started on the softs, then you have to, at some point before the checkered flag, pit for the medium or hard compound to make sure that you adhere to that rule, and vice versa. So the drivers that have started on the medium tires have to pit for either the hards or the softs before the checkered flag. And I was wrong in my number. It's actually 26 laps around the Azerbaijan circuit. just waiting for the drivers to find their appropriate positions on the grid. Whale asks if that is his highest grid position. I'm sorry, I do not know, Whale, but congratulations nonetheless on P6. It sounds like you are excited about it. And hopefully we'll have a good race for you as well. Just looks like there's a little bit of stragglers there at the back before we are able to go. They have to be lined up and ready to go. That is Adams in the Alpine just now finding his appropriate position on the grid, and the anxiety for these drivers are setting in just about now. We're all geared up and ready to go for 26 laps around Azerbaijan. And you hear those engines revving, you hear those engine pedal feet, the drivers watching the lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights in the air. No red lights. We are green for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Son of Fubar gets a fantastic start, but we're already wrecking in the back. Wrecking in the back. Who was that? Mauser going around in the AlphaTauri. Son of Fubar in first place, and another spin as well. Was that Pim? Yes, it was. Him in the Williams, he's around now, as is Norloser in the Ferrari. Son of Fubar still leads over the Williams of Big Dog 2005. Well, already up to third from P6 already, so in a podium position after just the first 3 corners. Train Game Wow down to 4th, Calvin Racing up to 5th, Tom Goproff in 6th, Bossy Gaming down to 7th place. Looks like we're finally getting a little bit of break in the action, but Unbeaten Sign and Morris just not giving up. A big gaggle of cars here. The Aston Martin of Unbeaten Sign just leading this train of cars, and I say that they are starting to get a little bit frustrated with it. Does the Aston Martin have wing damage, though? That will affect the handling of the car if he does. And already look at that Ferrari of Rogue Smithy getting to the back of the Aston Martin, pushing him around like the NASCAR track, just not letting him have any break whatsoever. Another bit of a bump from the Ferrari, and Rogue Smithy goes around. A little bit of a kiss to the wall is Unbeaten Sign, and that Aston Martin, I do believe that he does have some wing damage. If we can get a good camera angle, hopefully we will be able to see. And yes, he does. He is missing a right side end plate, so Unbeaten Sign, he's going to be losing a lot more positions. He's going to have to pit and get that front wing fixed. It's almost impossible to drive a car without a front wing, and it shows as Unbeaten Sign is having an issue. And Eric Yeast a 5-second time penalty for corner cutting, and he gained a place. So that is a very significant penalty, and likely one that he will have to serve on his next pit stop. Eric Yeast all the way up into 7th now. There you see the Red Bull driver just in front of Crowhawk. Of course, Crowhawk trying to get back around him, so it's a side-by-side battle. He's already been awarded the time penalty, so Yeast might as well try to defend his position, which he did, but Crowhawk ultimately was still able to surpass him, and already we got a little bit more moves from position up ahead of them, as Tom Goproff was almost in the middle of a 3-wide situation between Calvin Racing and the Alfa Romeo of Train Game Wow up there in 4th place. Tom Goproff in 6th respectively, Calvin in 5th. Go ahead and take a look now at Whale once again right on board with that Alpine as he's closing in a little bit on Big Dog 2005, but Big Dog 2005 closing in even more on our leader, Son of Fubar 5. A lot of 5s today, it looks like. So McLaren leads the Williams, leads the Alpine, leads the Train Game Wow in the Alfa Romeo. Train Game Wow is now a manufacturer, it looks like. Of course, Calvin Racing in the top 5 after just 2 of 26 laps around here. And you know, with as action-packed as that was, it feels like we've already ran a full race. So it looks like we're just getting 2 races today. Sounded like someone hit the wall there. Not sure if that was, in fact, what I heard, but it doesn't look like anyone has wing damage that I can tell. Taking a look at Whale, though, because it looks like Train Game Wow might be gaining on him a little bit through the time interval, but it looks like he's got his speed back, so maybe just a tricky castle section for the Alpine driver, but looks like, oh, Mauser is out of the session. Yellow flag in Sector 2. Will that bring out a safety car? A virtual safety car. And something has happened to Rogue Smithy as well. He finds himself in the 18th position, still under VSC. Now, this could give these drivers up front an opportunity to pit if they want to and not lose as much ground, but if you pit this early, then your tires are going to be a lot older later on in the race. So I don't believe we're going to see any drivers blink unless they already have damage. And just as I say that, looks like someone made a liar out of me, I think, and went into the pits. Was that Son of Fubar? Yes, it was. So what is our leader going to do? Son of Fubar putting on the fresh set of medium compound tires. Now, I have heard from some drivers, not in GP2, but one specific driver in GP1, that he believes that the medium compound tire can last the entire race. I personally disagree, but it's all about your driving style, what you can do in that car, and what your setup is allowing you to do. So from that perspective, it's actually quite possible that he could make the medium tires last for the whole race. Just depends on how easy or not easy you are under these tires. And Train Game, wow, a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC. He timed that not so good, unfortunately, for him, so he's going to have to serve that here sooner rather than later, or else risk a disqualification. The Big Dog 2005 finds himself in the lead, 1.2 seconds ahead of Whale in the Alpine, and Calvin Racing in third in the Mercedes, but Tom Goproff slowly gaining on that Mercedes there as we get a fantastic view out the front nose of that McLaren. Just behind him, though, this is really where the action is. Crowhawk gaining on him, and Eric Yeast gaining on Crowhawk. Of course, Eric Yeast does have that 5-second time penalty, so when he does make his first pit stop, he will have to serve that. But once DRS becomes active, which I actually believe it should be active now, this is going to be turning into a DRS train. Now, for those of you that are new, what DRS is, that basically means that there is less downforce on the car. So it is drag reduction system is what it stands for, and when you see these rear wings open, that is when the DRS is active. If you look over at your map, you will see a couple of green sections on very long straightaways, this one being one of them. So there you see that rear wing is open. Let's watch it close. There it closed because he got on the brakes. When you are within 1 second of the car in front of you, you are allowed to open that rear wing in those specified zones. That, in turn, it gives your car less downforce and less drag against the air, and it will help you gain a little bit of speed on the straightaway and help with an overtake. So anytime you hear DRS, that is what that means, and it means that the rear wings are about to go open. However, it will automatically close as soon as you hit the brake pedal. And Unbeaten Sign runs the fastest lap of the race, a 144.895. Unbeaten Sign in the Aston Martin in the 15th position. Now Morris, a 143.1, the fastest lap of the race so far. So Calvin still leads this train with Tom Goproff, Crowhawk, and Yeast pretty much nose to tail behind him. Look for a battle somewhere in the back of the pack, but Norloser slowly gaining on Pim here through the castle section, so Pim must have had a little bit of an issue through there. He was about a second up, now he's only half a second up. Norloser, maybe he's a sleeper today. 3 laps on those medium compound tires for Norloser. Of course, I believe he had a spin early on in this race, so he's going to have a lot of recovering to do, but already back in the points-paying positions. So let's watch the run that Norloser will get with the DRS on Pim going down this straightaway. You will see it significantly because Pim, he does not have a car in front of him, so he cannot activate that DRS, but Norloser most certainly will. And he doesn't even need the DRS because he's so fast, he got the slipstream on him before. And Crowhawk is DNF'd out of the session. Something's happened to Mercedes. So where is he wrecked out? It looks like, did he retire in the pits? Norloser runs the fastest lap, but then Son of Fubar runs the fastest lap just behind him. Still trying to figure out what happened to Crowhawk. I do believe that he retired in the pits, so something wrong, unfortunately, with the Mercedes as we go back to look at our leader, which is Calvin Racing now. Calvin Racing and Tom Goproff first and second because we're already having some pit stops. So Whale and the Big Dog 2005 both pitted for the medium compound tires. A little bit early if you ask me, but traditionally the soft compound tire does not last a very long time around Baku. There are some tracks, like Canada for example, where we were last week, where the soft compound tire can last approximately 10 laps, maybe more, maybe a little bit less, of course, depending on how you are on the tires, but approximately 10 laps. Around here, it seems to be about 7 or 8 is as long as you want to take it. But, as you can see, a lot of drivers prefer to pit fairly early, some pitting with 2 laps on their tires, some pitting with 4 laps on their tires. Not sure when Calvin and Tom Goproff are going to decide to pit, but it really doesn't, well, it does matter, but it's probably only one of the many things that they're thinking about at the moment, because Tom Goproff, being as close as he was a moment ago to Calvin Racing, might have been a little bit of a code brown from the Mercedes drivers. Tom Goproff going to try to use that slipstream and DRS to get around Calvin. And the rear wing opens right about now, so there goes the McLaren around Calvin, but does he pit? Yes, he does, so he makes the overtake right as they're entering the pits, and that could be very significant for Tom Goproff's race. Just barely getting by Calvin, but let's see which driver is going to beat the other out of the pits. You're really at the mercy of your of your simulated pit crew when you're exiting the pits, but it looks like Tom Goproff has been able to beat Calvin Racing pretty much the same margin that they exited it in. So now it's a matter of who's going to be quicker on the cold medium tires as they go back out onto the track. Make sure to not cross that white line. Oh, a little bit of a gaggle there as Tom Goproff has to concede a little bit to Whale. And imagine if Tom Goproff had been able to get out in front of Whale, that would have been an even more significant moment for his race. I do believe, though, that Son of Fubar is your virtual leader after the green flag pit stops will cycle through. So we now find Yeast and Mamba, the two Red Bull teammates, leading. Now, Eric Yeast will probably come in this lap and make this pit stop and likely have to serve that time penalty. But Eric's Mamba can go a lot longer because he's on the medium tire. Only 5 laps on those medium tires for both Mamba and Norluger. So they can go a little bit longer. They're going to be extending this first stint. So Son of Fubar, it can really just play chase for a while until he gets close to him. Of course, speaking of Son of Fubar, for a minute it looked like on the map he was locked in a battle, but I don't believe so. But behind him he might be locked in a little bit of a battle. If we could actually switch to Pim and look at him. So Pim and the Big Dog 2005, two teammates battling each other. No team orders, it looks like, between these two. And, you know, I sometimes wonder if they're even in communication with each other. So Pim throwing a little bit of a block on the Big Dog 2005, but not much of one, and Big Dog goes back around him using the slipstream to his advantage. So move Big Dog up into the 5th position. Eric Yeast will pit. Let's see if he has to serve that time penalty. Yes, he does. There you see the crew's not working on it until, yes, now 5 seconds are up. They're able to work on it as Whale runs the fastest lap. Eric's Mamba 66 in first, Norluger in second. Third is Son of Fubar. So slowly but surely these pit stops are cycling back around. But if I was Son of Fubar, I would be slightly, only slightly, concerned that Big Dog 2005 has 2-lap newer tires than myself does. Now, it doesn't make that much of a difference at this point in the race, but I can't tell you how many times in my races I have wished that my tires were 2 laps younger. So Son of Fubar, an early pit stop might come back to bite him, but so far it's looking pretty good as he is going to be our leader once the pit stop cycled back through, assuming that there is no safety car that helps Eric's Mamba out significantly. Tom Goproff still locked in that battle with Whale. Of course, Calvin just behind him. Looks like Adams is starting to get close to Calvin as well. So Adams started in dead last, 18th position, all the way up into the 9th place. So good job from him as Tom Goproff makes the move around Whale through the, right before the castle section. So that was a good move there by Tom Goproff in that McLaren, wondering if maybe there's something wrong with Whale. Oh, there's not. Not that I can tell. For a moment, I thought that there was some wing damage on the Alpine, but there's not. At least not that I can see, but he is definitely slowing down. Whale 1 lap on those medium tires, so it shouldn't be a tire wear factor. Not sure what's going on with him. Right on board with Calvin Racing. Calvin using the slipstream and the DRS as the Big Dog 2005 runs the fastest lap of the race, a 141.103. There's that slipstream and DRS working perfectly for Calvin. Clears him before he gets to turn number 1. Move Calvin up into the 6th position. Whale going to have to fight back hard now. He's lost 2 spots in 1 lap. A little bit of jostling around for position in the back, although it looks like Pim has decided to make his pit stop. Pim, one of the drivers that I pegged for a top 3 finish today, but unfortunately may or may not be in the cards for him, simply due to the fact that he had a spin on the very first lap, and now he finds himself in the 14th position. Of course, it doesn't matter where you're running at any point during the race, except on the last lap when you cross that line. So Pim does have plenty of time to save his race, but of course, there's only so much that you can physically do when you're that far back. And when we take a look at the leader gap, Pim is a full 34 seconds behind Eric's Mamba, and that is, that's definitely something to write home about. So far, there are not a lot of battles, so we're getting a big strung-out race here. Eric's Mamba, Norluger's Big Dog 2005, your top 3 with Son of Fubar and Tom Goproff, your top 5. Calvin, Whale, Sky Adams, Boss Gaming, and Mansell, your top 10. And Yeast, after serving that time penalty, finds himself in 11th position. So even though that did knock him down a few notches, he still does have a chance to at least get some points, maybe even have a good race. If there are safety cars, then that's going to bunch the field back up. That will put him back into contention. But right now, he's battling hard with SFR Mansell. Of course, these two are friends outside of the race cars. Inside of the race cars, they are going to be fierce competitors, but I expect nothing but clean racing between the two. Down the straightaway in a very clean pass from Yeast, moves into the 10th position. Mansell can really do nothing except watch the Red Bull, and that's really the problem. When the car behind you has DRS and you do not, there's really not a lot that you can do to save from being passed, just because that is how much of a difference that it makes. So Unbeaten Sign looks like he dropped a couple of positions, and Pim moving up slowly. Let's watch the Williams driver for a minute. On those fresh medium tires, he's a very quick driver, I'm finding, but he's having trouble putting full races together. Of course, it was a DNF in Bahrain. He did not start Portugal, and last week I believe he was able to pick up 2 points, and he had a pretty decent qualifying session today. So Pim is fast. He just needs to figure out how to put together a full race, or maybe he doesn't even need to figure it out. Maybe it just needs to happen for him, because there's luck involved with this as well. You can be the fastest driver out there. Oh my goodness, and already we have Unbeaten Sign spinning around, and I don't believe he kissed the wall, because he did continue on track, trying to see if that right side end plate is still on the car or not. Can't quite get a good camera angle to look at it. Almost hit the wall there through the castle section. That might be an issue. He actually does pull over and let the Haas of Morris by, so there's some good sportsmanship going on there. That right side end plate, if it wasn't gone before, it's gone now. As you can see, there is no right side end plate on that front wing of the Aston Martin, so that is the second front wing that Unbeaten Sign has beaten into the ground today. No pun. Actually, no, I'm not going to lie to you. Pun definitely intended, as we see Bossy Gaming going around the Alpine of Whale, and a little bit of a move there from Whale. A little bit of a error, I'd say, communication error there between Whale and Bossy Gaming. Scared me for a minute, but now Adams and 2 Alpines running nose to tail. So let's see what Adams does to his teammate here. Should get the DRS, as the DRS zone is there. You heard that beep. When you hear that beep, that means that the driver can activate the DRS. Gained a little bit there on exit, not too much though, but a lot better than the last corner. Gained a lot on entry, but he's going to lose it on exit this time around. That's a very tricky corner to get right, though. It looked like Whale was able to perfect it just a little bit more than his teammate was. But meanwhile, this is allowing Bossy Gaming to pull away. So Bossy Gaming, who a couple of weeks ago had some cat issues, as I mentioned in the qualifying, the cat kept unplugging his LAN cable from the console. But so far today, it's looking pretty good. Hopefully the cat will cooperate. Looks like Whale, something happened to him, so as he got damaged, he must have damage. He was ghosted there for a moment, and maybe the right side end plate is gone off of that Alpine. Not sure exactly. Looked for a minute like he was going slow, and maybe Adams is oh, and he's definitely into the wall now, so there is no front wing on Whale's Alpine. Definitely gone now. So it's not even right side end plate damage, it's just the entire front wing is gone. So if you think it's impossible to drive with a damaged front wing, try driving without a front wing at all. That is what's really impossible. And Whale, he's not trying to get into these guys. He's not trying to block it. He just can't even make the corner. So Mansell had to finagle around to get around that Alpine. So Whale's definitely coming to the pits to get that fixed, as Mansell finds himself up another position into the 9th place. Adams in 8th now, making up 10 spots. Norloser starting to gain on Son of Fubar, and he is right there on him, right at the gearbox. Lap 11 of 26, we are approaching the halfway mark. Big Dog 2005 still leads, but that is 1.5 seconds ahead of the battle that you're watching now. There you saw Big Dog 2005 just at the corner of your screen. I'm waiting for the front straightaway DRS, because Norloser, if he can get back within a second of Son of Fubar, then he will have a shot. But for whatever reason, he just could not keep the pace through that section. In the castle section, you see how tight that is. That is just a difficult section to navigate. For those of you who race in SFR or in a different league, you know all too well how tricky Baku is. For those of you who don't race and, is the first time watching Baku, just watch it next time we go through there. It is such a narrow narrow part of the course, and that's why you never see anyone going 2x2 through there, because you pretty much can't. And Norlu's are 1.6 seconds back of Son of Fubar, so whatever happened to the Ferrari, he has lost almost a full second, as now Rogue Smithy has retired from the session. That might have been in the pits, though. So as we watch his teammate, Rogue Smithy will no longer be racing in today's race, and he really needs a turnaround. Rogue Smithy has just not had the season that he has wanted. He's stepped out of the full-time seat to pretty much be what seems like a full-time reserve, so to speak. But looking at Eric's Mamba 66 now, who decided to go to the medium to hard tire strategy. So Mamba in P8 now. On board with Train Game Wow, we'll see what kind of a advantage Train Game Wow can get over those hard tires down this straightaway if he's able to. Of course, he will have DRS to his advantage as well. SFR Doran says, yes, can confirm Baku is in fact the devil. I wonder why, considering both of us had such a terrible race on Monday. Of course, I like Baku personally. I really do like the track. That being said, it is a difficult track to navigate, and an even more difficult track to navigate while being fast. Of course, as you saw, there was no improvement from Train Game Wow onto Eric's Mamba that time around. So Eric's Mamba on that hard compound tire. So the thing with the hard tires, for those of you who are new, they are a tricky tire because where the tire compound is so hard, it takes a long time for them to reach the optimal operating temperature that gives you optimal grip. So you have to run around the track for quite a few laps before those tires really start to feel nice and good and grippy. And of course, you know, a good, nice, optimal set of hard tires are still no match for a fresh set of softs. It's just how it is. But when the name of the game is not to run the fastest lap, but just finish ahead of everyone else, sometimes that strategic advantage can benefit you. And Baku is one of those tracks where a medium to hard strategy can certainly work. So Eric Yeast now at 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So as we watch his teammate, Yeast has yet another problem, and he definitely did not need to do that. But let's go back and watch from onboard of Train Game Wow as we go back through this DRS zone once again. The problem with that corner, though, is it's so hard to get a good exit, and this straightaway can be used as a good overtaking zone, but only if you get a good exit out of that corner, and it's something that I've seen a lot of drivers struggle with. Train Game Wow actually losing more ground to Mamba, so Mamba definitely a little bit better through that sector than he is. Both drivers going very wide there, but still trying to keep it within the track limits. So far, this is the only battle going on, but we have reached our halfway point as Big Dog 2005 still leads over Son of Fubar and Norlu's are your top three, with Tom Goproff and Calvin Racing your top five, Bossy Gaming, Eric Yeast, Eric's Mamba, Train Game Wow, who you're seeing on your screen now, and Pim, your top 10 at the moment. Of course, Morris, Adams, Whale, Mansell, and Unbeaten Sign. The remainder of the drivers left on track from 11th through 15th, respectively, with 3 DNFs of Rogue Smithy, Crowhawk, and SFR Mauser. So now is when Train Game Wow might be able to get an overtake on the Red Bull, but just as I say that, you can see that the Red Bull is still pulling away quite significantly from the Alfa Romeo, but Train Game Wow got a fantastic exit out of that last couple of corners. He might have a decent run on him. He's got a run, but does he have a shot? Will he get there before they get to turn one? I don't think he will. It's going to be so very close. He could go for a lunge, but thinks better of it, and that was probably the wise decision there from Train Game Wow, the Dutchman. Actually, I believe he's called the Flying Dutchman, if I'm not mistaken, among his drivers and peers. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Big Dog 2005 here for just a moment and just see what he's doing. Wow, going through the castle section, and look at how quickly he took that. So, note to self, we're going to watch him through the castle section a little bit more often. And the castle section, if you can get it right, it is satisfying, and it is fun. But if you get it wrong, you're mad because you're in the wall. We're going to take a look now at Adams, who is closing in on Morris in the Haas. Morris, of course, one of the drivers last season who we thought was going to be a serious title contender, and was, to be fair, for the first few races, but he just could not seem to get the finishes that he needed. He had a lot of bad luck to where he would wreck out of races or just come up a little bit short, got plenty of podiums, has yet to get a win in the GP2 series that I know of. Did not get one last season, has not yet gotten one this season. Running in 11th right now, so not going to be scoring points today if the race were to end right now, but it's only lap 15 of 26. He has got plenty of time to get back into the top 10 to score some points, as we have now got a little bit of jostling around for position up in the front because Son of Fubar has decided to pit, but will it be for the softs or will it be for the medium compound tire? If it's the softs, he's really putting a lot of trust in those tires. Son of Fubar goes on the medium compound tire, as now we see Sky Adams make a move around Morris, so he moves into the 11th position now from 18th to 11th so far. So it seems to be a preferred two-stopper today for a lot of these drivers around the race circuit. Of course, Mamba going to be the one-stopper with going to the medium to the hard, and now Unbeaten Sign, he's retired from the session. Was that on track, or was that? It must have been on track, because now we have a safety car. And now is when things get interesting. And I'll tell you, this helped out Norloser tremendously. I would argue that Norloser might, it's a big might, a big if, could gamble on the softs, and it could pay dividends for him here today. But this safety car definitely doing him a huge favor here, as I don't believe he's going to lose a lot of positions. Maybe he might not lose but one or two, because Calvin will likely be pitting as well if he's planning to do the two stops, as will Tom Gilcroft perhaps, and the Big Dog 2005. Now, Son of Fubar, he just pitted, so there's no reason for him to pit again. Let's see what Norloser does here in third. Big Dog 2005, he is pitting. Tom Gilcroft, did he pit? No, he is staying out on track. No, oh, never mind. I looked at the map wrong. Tom Gilcroft, he pitted as well. Norloser going to pit. So now it's a matter of who's going to be in the lead. It should be Son of Fubar, who's close, if not in the lead, when we go back. Green, so Son of Fubar has found himself in the second position after pit stops. The Big Dog 2005 was just too far ahead, so he could not surpass him. Son of Fubar could not, but finds himself back in the second position. Very respectable indeed, if you ask me. So Big Dog 2005, Son of Fubar, Tom Gilcroft in top 3, with Norloser and Calvin in top 5. And I'm almost thinking Norloser is listening to the broadcast, because he is gambling on the softs. I just want to say a disclaimer. Just because I said he might be able to gamble on the softs doesn't mean I thought he should. But it doesn't mean I thought he shouldn't either. I'm honestly very curious to see how this is going to turn out for him, because as we've seen, these drivers really like to pit about after they have 5 or 6 laps on those soft compound tires. And really, it seems like you can't go any more than 8. However, that's on a full tank of fuel. It's been a long race, 16 of 26 laps, so there is less fuel in the car than there was when we started, and it's only going to get lighter and lighter. So that is going to help tire wear a little bit. And not to mention that we do still have at least 2 more safety car laps to run around this circuit, which will help with the tire life. So when we go back green, I'd say that those soft compound tires are only going to have about 8 laps worth of racing on them when we take the checkered flag. So maybe Norloser timed it just right. It was definitely a tricky call, and we don't know if it's the right one or the wrong one. The right call is the one that wins you the race or gets you a good finish if you can't win the race. Otherwise, there's no standard for what is right and what is wrong. I've always said, if you can find a way to make 6 pit stops and still win a race, go ahead and do it. Actually, I'm pretty sure that did happen with Michael Schumacher, wasn't it? But don't ask me what track, please. Of course, while we're talking about trivia, I'm noticing no one has decided to answer the trivia question that I posed to you in qualifying, so I'm going to go ahead and ask it again. The 2021 Azerbaijan Grand Prix saw Sergio Perez score his 2nd win of his career. But counting that win, How many podiums does that make for Sergio Perez at Baku? Button Canada 2011, Whale says. So am I wrong with the Schumacher, or did Schumacher do it as well? Because I was not watching Formula One during the days of Michael Schumacher. I am currently in the process of slowly learning the history of Formula One and Schumacher. Of course, we all know the story of his dominance with Ferrari through the late 90s and more so early 2000s. Of course, the 2004 car arguably being one of the best Formula One cars that has ever graced the circuit. Closely rivaled by the McLaren MP4-4, which was 1988, I believe. That car won all but one race in that season between Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. Cannot say Prost's first name in the proper French pronunciation, so I apologize there. I don't know, Whale, what you're asking about as far as 14 goes. Gareth Vicker says he enjoyed himself at Baku. Well, I'm sure you did, considering that you won yourself a race. Of course, that's the thing. I absolutely hate Portugal, but if I won a race at Portugal, I'd have fun. So it looks like the safety car queue is now officially a nose-to-tail line, so that means that the safety car may very well be coming in this lap. Oh, Perez podiums. I don't know what his total is in his career, but I mean just specifically at Baku, and the answer is not 14. And if I'm not mistaken, Baku was where Lance Stroll got his very first podium with Williams. It's not 13 either. I will give everyone the answer after the checkered flag. Don't you worry. So for those of you who don't know, you will find out. But we are going back green. We'll ride on board with Son of Fubar. The Big Dog 2005, he is the control car, so he gets to go whenever he wants to, as long as it's before the start-finish line. Otherwise, it's Son of Fubar who has fair game, but Big Dog 2005 gets a start, but Son of Fubar gets an even better start, I do believe, and he stays locked to the back of that Williams. Going into turn number 1 now. Big Dog 2005 taking a little bit of a wider line. That allows him to get a little bit of a better exit over the McLaren driver, but we got some jostling around position in the back. Side-by-side battle going into turn number 2, and Bossy Gaming might have pushed Calvin a little bit wide. Not sure if the Mercedes had some contact with the wall or not, but there goes Yeast around Calvin Racing as well. So move Yeast over to the 6th position, maybe trying to give a chase to Bossy Gaming here in a moment. Calvin really dropping back. We got to watch him now. Something seriously going wrong with Calvin, but I think he's finally found himself a place to live in this big mess of cars. As you saw Mamba actually clip the curb there and get into Morris a little bit, maybe. Definitely tight confines around the Baku circuit. Lap 18 of 26, nearing the end of this race. All these drivers know that this is go time, and that this is the only opportunity, maybe, that they're going to have for the rest of the race to improve their position, maybe get into the points, maybe get on the podium. Who's to say? Who's not to say? The sky is the limit here. On board with Whale at the moment in the Alpine. Calvin Racing. It seems like he's just still trying to find his footing. Of course, Calvin, he does quite a bit of racing. He races in SAF1, and I think Invictus Racing League as well. 2 leagues that SFR have ran races with in the past, so we are good friends with both of those leagues. And there goes Whale on the inside of Calvin. Oh, some contact! Contact! That was into the wall, goes Whale. But is there any wing damage? We need to get a good view of that front wing. Big Dog 100, or Big Dog 2005, a 140.618. But a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He must have went a little bit wide out of turn number 1. So unfortunate for the Big Dog 2005. He's going to have to get out to a 3-second lead if he's going to win this race now. So Whale do not believe that there's any wing damage, as he is able to keep pace with Calvin, but still seems to be struggling to at least get close to him. Son of Kubar, we'll take a look at him now, right on board with the McLaren driver. Battle for the lead, and if the race were to end at this very moment, that time penalty will be added on to the Big Dog 2005's time, meaning that he would drop quite a few positions, depending on the time interval to the leader with the rest of the field. Now, Norlu's around very surprised to see not performing on those soft compound tires, so it seems like the soft compound is really more of a qualifying tire around Baku for these guys. In fact, not only is Norlu's not performing, he is dropping back significantly, 1.7, 1.8 seconds now. It was 1.6 when I was talking about it. Now almost 2 seconds. What is happening to Norlu's? Is there wing damage? No. But for whatever reason, he just cannot find the pace, and he's now at risk of Bossy Gaming creeping up on him and getting around. Tom Goproff trying to give chase to Son of Fubar, his teammate for the day. These two drivers, they could work together. We could see it possibly a McLaren 1-2. Lap 20 up 26, and DRS is now enabled. So now is when we're going to be seeing some overtakes. Tom Goproff, of course, needs to stay within a second of his teammate. Don't believe he got it, though, in that DRS detection zone. Let's see if he did. Does the rear wing open? No, it does not. So Tom Goproff, no slipstream. He's got some slipstream, but no DRS, while Son of Fubar's got the slipstream and the DRS. Through the castle section once more. A little bit of a clip of the curve there. Son of Fubar might win a touch wide. Looking around for some battles, but it's mostly DRS trains. Calvin racing here, though, trying to get close to Train Game Wow. Looks like Calvin has finally found his footing after a couple of laps. And now he sets his sights back to the move forward as much as he possibly can with what time he has left. Of course, I'd say Calvin could maybe be in contention for a top 5. It looks like definitely a top 6 if he's able to get around Train Game Wow, because Eric Cheese does have that 3-second time penalty that's hanging over his head. Bossy Gaming, he might have a decent lock on the 5th position though, but if Calvin can get by Bossy's teammate sooner rather than later, that would give him a better chance. But that's the thing though, Calvin does not have a teammate out there right now. Crowhawk, unfortunately, DNF. He can provide no help one way or the other. Train Game Wow, he can at least hold up Calvin a little bit and prevent him from making the charge toward Bossy Gaming in that top 5. Of course, Bossy Gaming isn't necessarily worried about Calvin at the moment. He's more so worried about where Eric East is, which is pretty much right behind him. If Bossy Gaming has got his mirror turned on, he can look straight up and see that Red Bull just peeking out from the shadows, waiting to pounce like a lion stalking its prey. Of course, Calvin might have just made a little bit of a pounce on Train Game Wow, tried to go for a lunge, was not able to do so, and that is actually going to bring Eric's Mamba, which is Yeast's teammate, up into this battle. So it's going to be a 3-car battle. Train Game Wow, Calvin Racing, and Eric's Mamba. Not your top 3, but your top 7, 8, and 9 around Baku. Is it Mamba has a little bit of a wiggle there. Really starting to spread out a little bit, though, is what I'm noticing. Train Game Wow, he's even losing some ground to Yeast. Calvin is staying pretty steady. And Eric's Mamba, he's just hanging out, really. He's waiting on these guys to make a mistake before he can get around them. Up at the front, though, Son of Fubar is just barely able to hang on to DRS range of the Big Dog 2005. But again, he doesn't necessarily need to pass him on track as long as he doesn't make a mistake and stays within 3 seconds of him. He will be promoted into that first position after the 3-second time penalty. So Calvin Racing, you heard that beep. He's got the DRS, and you can see the rear wing open on Train Game Wow as well. So he was able to get some slipstream and DRS off of the Red Bull of Eric Yeast up ahead of him. Looks like Calvin was for a moment thinking about going for a lunge, but ultimately thought better of it. Once again, trying to go for a lunge, but can't do it. Meanwhile, Son of Fubar, he has gotten around the Big Dog 2005. What has happened? Something happened at the front in the Big Dog 2005. He dropped back significantly. Son of Fubar kicking into high gear. He wants to win himself a race today. Big Dog 2005, you got to feel for him, though. That 3-second time penalty, if it wasn't for that, you would know that he is racing for more than second place at the moment. And, you know, quite frankly, if Son of Fubar makes the same mistake that Big Dog did, then he will pick up a 3-second time penalty, and then they will both be back on even terms. And the only thing they'll have to worry about is how far back third place is. And just as we're talking about time penalties, Bossy Gaming picks himself up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So that means that Bossy Gaming might be in jeopardy of losing his top 5 finishing position at the end of this race. Lap 22 of 26, excuse me. We're getting to the end, and it is getting intense. The battle for the lead is just now heated up, and I don't think that it's going to get any cooler in here anytime soon. The Big Dog 2005 is about to be on the DRS straightaway if he doesn't put it in the wall. First, a little bit of a wiggle there, but you saw the correction. Great driving skills from the driver there. So he's going to have slipstream, and he's going to have the DRS, and you can already see just how much he is gaining on the McLaren. The McLaren weaving a little bit, trying to break that slipstream, but ultimately there's not a lot that can be done. He's going to be the sitting duck through the straightaway here, and Big Dog 2005 goes back up into the first position, clears him before turn number 1. Son of Fubar has to regroup and go back on the offensive, and both of these drivers really are pulling away only slightly from Tom Goproff. I do believe this time last lap it was 2.1 seconds. It finds itself at 2.3 now, so if the Big Dog 2005 wants to stay in at least the second position, they are going to have to make sure that they are 3 seconds ahead of Tom Goproff. Not a lot of overtaking opportunities around Baku. They are very few and far between, and this part of the course is certainly no exception. While this is a decently sized straightaway compared to the tight confines of most of the corners, the only way that you can really make an overtake there is if you get a good exit and the guy in front of you gets an abysmal exit. Then, only then, do you have even a chance at an overtake, because the track narrows so significantly once you take that right-hander. Even though you can abuse that curve, and once you're going into the castle section, you've got to figure it out. So Big Dog 2005 starting to pull away now from Son of Fubar. Son of Fubar, let's see just how much ERS he's got left and if he's going to use it down the straightaway. You can't quite look at the telemetry, but you can get a glimpse. And there you saw on the wheel, it went from orange to green. So when it was orange, it means he does not have his ERS active. When it's green, it means he does. Now, what ERS is? It's ERS. That's what they abbreviate it as. And it's pretty much allowing you to use the extra power that you have at your disposal from the battery when you want. Eric Cheese is retired from the session. Something has happened to both Red Bull drivers. So both Red Bull drivers out in the same incident in Sector 3, trying to get an idea of what has happened here if we can find them on track. I don't think we're going to be able to see, unfortunately, but it must have been here in between the second and third sector that both Red Bull drivers just must have collided with each other and had a moment. So, unfortunately, we will not be able to see what has happened with them, but there is not going to be a safety car. We are still green. But that is unfortunate for both the Red Bulls. I think we did briefly see one of them there. So Eric Cheese and Eric's Mamba not going to be walking away with a points-paying position today. Nor loser, though. He has went the wrong way on those soft compound tires. So I think we found our answer as far as what he should have done, and it was not pit for the soft compound. Norloser just cannot quite get by Bossy Gaming. Now, with 7 laps on the soft compound tire, I would say that by now, Bossy Gaming's medium tires are very much preferred. So back to Son of Fubar, who has maintained a fairly consistent gap of approximately 6 to 7 tenths of a second behind the Big Dog 2005. Son of Fubar using that slipstream and the DRS to his advantage. Somehow, though, it looks like the Big Dog 2005 got a little bit of DRS, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I looked at the rear wing wrong, because it doesn't make sense. There wasn't a car ahead of him. And you saw Son of Fubar try to go for a move on the outside. That ultimately was not going to stick, but he had to try something. course, the Big Dog 2005, he knows he's fighting a losing battle here. The best thing that he can hope for is for Son of Fubar to make a mistake and pick up a 3-second time penalty. Then, as I said, it would be them two racing on equal merit, and it would just be who finishes in front of the other as far as who does better. Of course, Tom Goproff, if both of these drivers make a mistake, he could pick up a win, but only if both of them have 3 seconds worth of time penalties and he stays within 3 seconds of the leader. So lap 25 of 26, we are on the penultimate lap, just 2 laps to go. Going to be 1 lap to go when we get back to the line. And it's all come down to this. Seven DNFs from the session, 11 drivers left. Adams started in 18th, finds himself in 11th, likely will not walk away with a points-paying position, but he did finish the race. Meanwhile, the Big Dog 2005 is fighting Son of Fubar for the lead. Tom Goproff just trying to hang on to a podium and maybe figure out what else that he can get from this. Bossy Gaming with a time penalty, fighting with Norloser for 5th place, and Norloser will inherit the 4th position as long as he doesn't pick up a time penalty himself, and the rest of the pack just riding, waiting for the race to end. But the race that we're watching is the race for the lead, the battle for the lead. It's all on the line now. The Big Dog 2005, virtually impossible to win this race unless, as I've said, Son of Fubar makes a mistake, because there's just no way that the Big Dog 2005 is going to be able to pull out a 3-second gap on Son of Fubar alone. But nonetheless, it looks like the Big Dog 2005 is at least en route to a podium today, and that would be a fantastic result for him, and I'm sure that he would be elated, if not a win. At least a podium is a good second best. Son of Fubar, meanwhile, looking at his first GP2 win. If I'm not mistaken, he is a reserve today. He is, Son of Fubar is a reserve. So Son of Fubar, he's not even racing in this division for points, but he is about to win his first race. And hopefully we will be able to talk to Son of Fubar, because he has run such a fantastic race. I really don't know where to start with the questions. And you got to feel for Big Dog 2005, though, really, because he has also ran a fantastic race. And as you can see, he is a little bit faster. And without that time penalty, you could argue that he did deserve to win this race. Not to take away from Son of Fubar, of course. But that time penalty, the track limits, they will come back to bite you, and that is what Big Dog 2005 has to deal with now. Down the front straightaway for the final time in the Williams. Big Dog 2005 will most definitely cross the line in first place, but it is going to be the McLaren of Son of Fubar who gets the win in the McLaren first place in Azerbaijan. Tom Goproff in the McLaren third place. So McLaren won 3 today. Bossy Gaming in 4th. Norloser going to go to 4th, though, after that time penalty. Bossy Gaming demoted to 5th. Calvin Racing going to 6th. Train Game Wow in the 7th position. Morris in 8th. 9th will be Well, and then 10th will be Adams. Adams does get a point because something happened to Mansell on the very last lap. He retired from the session, must have wrecked out. So Adams goes from 18th to finishing in the points. What an absolutely fantastic drive from Adams. Norloser picking up 10 spots as well and hanging on at the end. As far as my driver of the day goes, I don't know. It's between Adams and Norloser, and I wish that we could have 2. So we will talk to our top 3 drivers of Big Dog 2005, Son of Fubar and Tom Goproff, if they want to decide and join. And it's now time for me to answer your trivia question. So the question was, how many podiums does Sergio Perez have at the Baku circuit after his win in 2021? The answer is 3. 3 podiums at Baku for Sergio Perez. One of those, of course, being his win. So we will talk to Son of Fubar, Big Dog 2005, and Tom Goproff here in just a moment. But here are your official finishing results for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Son of Fubar in first, the Big Dog 2005 in second, Tom Goproff in third, Norloser in fourth, Bossy Gaming in fifth, Calvin in sixth, Train Game Wow in seventh, Morris in eighth, ninth as well, Adams in 10th, Mansell in 11th, Yeast in 12th, 13th is Mamba, 14th is Pim, 15th is Unbeaten Sign, Rogue Smithy in 16th, 17th is Crowhawk, Mauser in the 18th position. So we had 8 DNFs from the session and then 10 drivers finish. It was not quite chaotic, but also certainly not calm around Baku either. Of course, calm or chaotic, of course, depends on where you were on the race during the entire time. So I know we have Son of Fubar in the party, so we will talk to him here in just a moment, just waiting to see if the Big Dog 2005 and Tom Goproff want to join as well. So we will get to our showroom, and then we will commence our interviews. Certainly an interesting race. It got strung out there at the end, and it got strung out there about midway. Of course, the safety car bringing everyone back into contention and allowing us to see a fantastic fight for the lead. And, maybe a few drivers would have wished that safety car hadn't have happened. Norloser, who knows where he would have been. Maybe on for a podium. Probably not, though, because he was on old medium tires, pitted for those softs. Unfortunately, not the right gamble, but still walked away with a P4, so that's a good finish for him nonetheless, even if he comes one spot short of the podium. So we do have Son of Fubar here. We now have the Big Dog 2005. Just wondering if maybe Tom Goproff is going to join as well, and we can talk to him. But we will commence our interviews with the two drivers that we have. But before we do that, guys, please make sure that you have allowed your voice to be shared. If you don't know how to do that, go over to the party settings, click Always Allow, and let me know when you're ready. Are we ready?
I am ready, yeah. Unfortunately, the last guy, Tom Go, won't be joining us.
All right, so we just got our top two to talk to today. First things first, we'll talk to our winner. So Son of Fubar 5 in the McLaren. My goodness, so you were a reserve driver today, and you find yourself winning your first race. You were, and it wasn't even on luck. It was just the fact that you were one of the fastest cars between you and Big Dog 2005. You two were the class of the field. So tell me, how does it feel to win your first GP2 race, and how does it feel to race in SFR?
Well, yeah, obviously driving in SFR just feels really good. Like, the drivers are clean, which I just like. It's really good. And yeah, some really good pace drivers like the Big Dog. I had a really good fight with him. He was just very unfortunate of having that 3-second time penalty. Otherwise, I wouldn't have won this race. It would have been him then.
And true as that may be, both of you guys certainly put up a fantastic fight there at the end. Do you think that had he not gotten that time penalty, that you maybe would have changed your driving style a little bit and maybe had something for him, or was he just too fast?
Well, I was just lucky that I had DRS every single lap. I was just pushing my battery completely to just stay within the second. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to keep up. Like, every single corner, he was just gaining time compared to me. So without that, I wouldn't have stand a chance against him.
Well, nonetheless, sometimes the time penalties and the FIA get to decide these things, or the virtual FIA in our case, and you were the one that was able to, benefit from that decision. And congratulations, you ran a fantastic race, second on track, but first in the standings of the race. Congratulations, Son of Fubar. And now
Thank you very much.
And now we'll talk to our second place finisher of Big Dog 2005. Big Dog 2005, another reserve for today. And I know that you are disappointed with not winning that race, but you got to think it's at least a good feeling to be upset with second. I'm sure you were. Now, what exactly led to that? Like, what corner was that in? Was that in turn one? Did you just go a little too wide? So what it was? Oh, go ahead. So it sounds like both of you at least did have a good time racing each other. Will we maybe see you all later on down the road in GP2?
Yeah, I hope the same.
So unfortunately, Big Dog 2005, the chat is saying that they cannot hear you. Believe that was just for Big Dog 2005. Did you allow your voice to be shared in the party settings? Okay, we can hear him now. So just a quick recap on your thoughts of the race, just so our viewers can hear what you're saying. But again, congratulations on your top two finish, and I'll let you explain to them what happened in your race.
I was, yeah, the 3 seconds was unfortunate. I got a lot of oversteer out of the gas stall 2 times, the warnings, and I was pushing trying to get through behind, and I got understeer, and just in turn one I go too wide, lock the inside, and I get 3 seconds. And I was on that moment, I was thinking like, oh man, and toen, yeah, I was thinking to myself, okay, we're gonna try to get away, but it was just impossible. The EOS die was empty, and the tires couldn't keep up with the pace.
Well, maybe next time you're in the car, you will be able to get one spot better. But nonetheless, thank you all so much to the drivers that have raced with us. Thank you all to the viewers that have watched the stream. Congratulations to our top 3 finishers. And until next time, good morning, good evening, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. Have fun, and goodbye.